It's 22nd of August 2014. I just thought it's the day that Michael Collins was shot. Not that's a good thing. It was about this day, well, probably the Sunday nearest to this day, in 1998. So 1997, when I went to Belknap for his commemoration. You may recognise where we are from that spire. This is Edinburgh. So it's like a campanile without a church around it. It always mystified me as a child. I was only when I was later back here as a teenager actually read it and realised it's the Sir Walter Scott Memorial, famous novelist and poet from around here, lawyer, Tory, royalist. So this is Princes Street, and they've got a tram here now, which they never did before. I haven't been to the city since 2001, when my mum and dad sold the flat. So yeah, I just know it so well. Jenner's, a famous family-owned department store, I suppose you'd have to call it. The Union flag, the European Union flag, and the Saltire. So under a month to go to this referendum on independence. Looks like it'll be handily defeated, which I'm elated about. I thought that the Yes campaign would lose, but I thought only mildly. This is Princes Street Gardens, known as the Norloch in medieval times, and in the late 18th century was drained. They found many skeletons there, about 80% of them female skeletons, because the witches had been ducked there to test if they really were witches. Obviously, if they sank, they were innocent, but they were dead. Oh well, they go straight to heaven, no matter. So yeah, I walked up and down these gardens many times as a child, because Alex started going to boarding school when she was 10, so I would have been 3. It's probably the first time I came to Edinburgh. I came here many times as a child, and then when I was 18 I came here for the Edinburgh Festival, stayed with Donny Carr. I stayed here for about 10 days. It's quite rude of me staying in this place all the time. I did buy him a present. Oh, I'd never knew you could go into it. I might even do that. So I just came up yesterday, saw some shows, met Matt Francis doing a show, some chap I know from London. I only met him once, amateur comedian. But I put my head around the curtain, because there wasn't a door, and I couldn't believe, I thought, oh, they're just having a chat or something, but it really was the show. The so-called show was him being interviewed, and is being broadcast live on the radio. Only 5 people were there, and it wasn't comedy. So I thought that podcast was no great shakes. So there's so many stately buildings. It's a very handsome city. Old Riki. I wonder if the Riki means it's meant to actually smell. And there's the art gallery. I went into that last time in 2001. There is Edinburgh Castle. That skyline is unique, and you can see the huge stadium, I suppose you'd have to call it, where they put up the terraces for the Edinburgh Tattoo. I was staying in a hotel last night because I jumped at the chance of accommodation near Pollock Halls. It was 84 quid. It's far more than I want to pay, but I thought I won't get a bed in use, I'll be booked out. Oh, no! And there were people from the Tasmanian police who were participating in it, in all that Scottish get-up. You know those big black bearskin hats they wear? I wonder, they're not originally copied from the French, from the Imperial Guard. And a bit like sort of these so-called Irish bands who perform in the United States. Often their bagpipes are Scots, and their outfits are Scots, the kilts, because they've got proper tartans, they've got sporrans. They don't have the Irish kilts, which is orange and green, without a sporran. Oh yeah, look over there. So that is the theology faculty, and it's also where the General Assembly of the Church of Scotland meets. In there is a statue of Robert Knox, sorry, not Robert Knox, John Knox. What else am I going to say? I remember in 98, I was walking through there and I happened to see some sort of notice saying, oh, do you want to read theology here? I was about to get my A-level results. Had I got them, I went to speak to this American chap, Dr. Badcock. He said to make my decision prayerfully. It would have been 4 years. But I decided not to withdraw from UCAS, apply to Oxford again. They're happily ever after. What was I going to say? And I remember seeing the film Chariots of Fire. It was filmed a bit there. It came out in 1981. And they have, what's his name? That little character walking past the statue of John Knox, played by Ian Charleson, who died about 10 years later of the gay plague. So yeah, it's a fabulous city, and it's a city just crammed with memories for me. I remember walking along Princes Street when I was 18 and suddenly seeing this equestrian statue of a soldier, and I was instantly transported back perhaps 10 years. Of course, being 18, 10 years seemed an enormously long time to when I'd seen that very same thing. It was like deja vu. You see there's a seagull over there. We're not too far from the sea. Walking up and down the Royal Mile. I'm staying on the Royal Mile now. So I'm elated to be here. I was on a real high when I got off the train. Got my young person's rail card, but it was still pretty steep. Like 84 quid return. I'll go back tomorrow night, spare myself having to pay for another night's accommodation. meet Eddie Gallagher soon. But it doesn't look like I'm getting a chance to perform because I was hoping there'd be walk-in things. That was the principal purpose of coming up here. I suppose I better get myself a bit more organised, which is very uncharacteristic for me. Forthcoming summer to do that, to book slots. Sometimes you can get rooms for free, but to book accommodation months ahead, make a firm decision. This is what I'm going to do for about a week of my summer. You know, if I'm ever going to make a go of comedy, got to do that. And not just do bits and bobs. Better material. I'm not keep redoing the old stuff. I introduce a bit of new material each time, but I need to be bolder about that. And I suppose I'm very comfortable in London because I've been to the same venues several times. Right. So I'll switch it off for a bit now.